Good evening, Crime Crunchies. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight. I am your host, Courtney C., a 27-year veteran of the media. I am so excited for tonight's show. We have a real interview with a real kidnapping victim, Lisa, over at Crime After Dark HQ. She has her own channel on YouTube, and she has been so kind in offering to give us an interview. We really want to hear what she has to say about a real situation and see if we can compare anything with the Nancy Guthrie crazy. Okay, so let me bring her on right now. Hey, good evening, Lisa. Good evening. I have to thank you so much for being here tonight, Lisa.
Thank you for having me. Also, my camera's like over here, so
okay.
I might look like I'm not looking.
No, you look fine. I love it. You do what you have to do. And everybody, just to let you know, Lisa, she is at Crime After Dark HQ, and I'm linking her channel here. So please give her a subscribe, a follow. She's getting her channel going. So Lisa, again, thank you so much for sharing. We're all very interested because with the Nancy Guthrie case, they are calling it a kidnap for ransom, but there's nothing, according to all the professionals, nothing has gone along with what a real kidnapping is. And none of us are really used to that. So I want to cue you up to your story and talk about your childhood and your family dynamic. Let's start from there.
First of all, I got to say hi to Ashley, my one and only mod.
Yay!
Okay. And Alpha. So family dynamic. I mean, my sister's 7 years older than me. So, and this happened when I was a kid. And in our case, like our family dynamics really had nothing to do with it because it was so different from, Nancy's situation, I guess you'll call it.
Yeah.
It was targeted, but it was different.
So how old were you when this incident occurred?
4.
You were 4. Your sister was 11.
My sister was 11. I'll say, so if I was 4, so then my parents were both 34.
Okay. Married, living in the same home,
everything. living in the house.
What did your father do? Did your mom work? And I know your father worked.
She was a stay-at-home mom. I mean, she worked when my sister, it was either before my sister was born or while she was little. She quit at some point. So, the entire time I was little and growing up, she didn't work. So he was a major, excuse me, I'm fighting off the crud.
Yes, I get it.
I woke up with it today. Anyway, so if I sneeze, I'll mute myself. He was a manager of a major grocery store chain. Like major.
Okay.
And there were, I'm trying to think of how many locations in our city. At least 4 at that time.
Was he manager over all 4?
No. So they have a manager for each location, and then they have what's called a zone manager. So the zone manager oversees all of the stores. So this was actually the first store that he was a manager at. Because he, through the years, he went, from this store to that store kind of thing. My sister worked there. She retired after 44 years. I worked there for 8 years. Back in the 80s. That's how old I am. So, at one point in time, we actually all worked together, which was interesting. But at this time, I don't think he had actually been a manager very long when this happened.
Okay.
So
is he at work? What happens? Describe the day.
So, it happened at night. Now, because I was, I was 4. there's certain moments that I remember. I have like 3 key moments that are vivid in my brain. One actually gave me PTSD. I still have it to this day.
Mm.
Throughout the years, like my sister and I have talked about it, she obviously remembers more because she's 7 years older. And I actually was talking to my mom about it. So she even, I was asking her different questions about it. So I don't know what day of the week it was. I have no clue. But
Okay.
we were watching. So my dad was at work. Okay. Because at this time, I think they still work it this way. When you're a manager, they require you to work, 1 to 2 nights a week. So like a late night, they'd work till 11, 12 o'clock. So on this night, my dad was at work. I think it was about 8 o'clock because, it was my mom, my sister, and I, and we were watching TV in the living room. My sister remembers the fact that we were watching Brady Bunch.
Okay.
And somebody told me after that it came on at like 8 o'clock. So there's a knock at the door. And it wasn't just a regular, knock. It was like a very loud, like a forceful knock. So when my mom got up to go to the door, which was the front door was right by the living room. When she got up, we like followed her. I remember walking behind her.
Because it was like, it meant business. There's something going on with this. No.
Yeah, it was, it was a louder, And so we have the typical, the inside door and then the storm door. She opens the inside door and there was a guy standing outside and he was holding a pizza and he said, "Pizza delivery." So at that point she had opened the storm door.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Pizza delivery." And she says, "I didn't order a pizza." So as she was saying that, she saw another guy standing like out of, he had been like out of her sight. But as she opened the door, she saw him. And then she knew something was not, So she tried to close the storm door. And when she did that, they just forcefully pulled the door back open. They had guns. Oops. I don't know if I can say.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't want to get you in trouble, Courtney.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I've just given in. It's fine.
So they forcefully come into, the house. There was more than 2 of them, but not all of them were there, so to speak. So to preface this, what they did was there's apartments not far from the house. They literally ordered a pizza for delivery to these apartments that you can walk. They're close. You can walk. Had it delivered to these apartments, which my sister said, she said, "I don't think they lived at these apartments. They just picked them because they're close." Okay. They had the pizza delivered. And when the pizza guy delivered the pizza, they threw him in the trunk of the car. Yeah. They threw him in the trunk of the car so they could get the pizzas, get the pizzas. Drove that vehicle to our house. So they had, I guess they were parked in front of the house with the, the pizza delivery car.
And this is back in the day when you paid upon delivery, cash. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Most of the, yeah. Oh, I remember my dad doing that a lot, when he would order pizza or whatever. So the car was parked on the street in front of the house with the pizza delivery guy in the trunk this whole time.
Oh my God.
They come in forcefully. Now I remember, the way I remembered it, and again, I was only 4, I thought they locked us in the bathroom, like after they were in the house, My sister said, oh, it was my sister or my mom? I actually think it was my mom. She said, no, your sister grabbed you, like after they busted through the door. She said she grabbed your hand and ran to the bathroom and locked the door.
Wow.
So my sister was like, we're getting out of here, kind of thing. And I guess so we're in the bathroom, and I don't know what they were saying to my mom. Like, I don't remember conversations from them. I remember seeing the guns that they had, when they came. And I remember the knock at the door. And the knock at the door is what gave me PTSD, the sound of it. So even now, I've had it my whole life. If somebody knocks at the door and I don't know somebody's coming, I instantly panic. Whether it's my house, someone else's house, it doesn't matter. I get like a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach kind of thing. So anyway, I don't remember like what they, after they came in, I don't remember what they were saying or whatever. And according to my mom, they asked her like, where are the kids? Where'd they go? And I think, she said, well, I told them like, I think they're in the bathroom. For whatever reason, they didn't want us in the bathroom. So, they went to open the door, and of course my sister had locked it. So, and my sister was pretty brave at 11, because my mom said they had to like kick the bathroom door because my sister literally wouldn't open the door. When they said open the door, my sister, I guess, was like, nope. Yeah, Alpha, good for her. At 11 years old,
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah, so they must have done this before they made my mom do what they made her do. So the other thing is, like, they made us take off all of our clothes.
Yeah. You're sitting around nude.
They didn't do anything to us.
Yeah. But that's a violation.
Yeah, I mean, the point of that, I don't know. So they must have kicked the bathroom door open and gotten us out of the bathroom before this point, because I remember, again, standing, I was right by my mom. They made her call my dad at work.
Nude. Was she nude at this point, or?
Yeah, she must. I think we all were at this point. I think when they got us out of the bathroom, then they said like,
yeah,
take your clothes off.
They wanted you vulnerable so you wouldn't run, I'm sure.
So, and back then, they were rotary phones, and it was hanging on the wall, literally by the bathroom door, like right there by the bathroom door, because where it hangs is like in the kitchen. It's like the kitchen area. So I have the image, in my mind of my mom, they said, call him at work. She picks up the phone, she dials. And there was a guy, one of the guys was on the other side. Like, I was facing the guy, and he's literally got the gun to her.
To your mother. Wow.
Yeah. So they told her what to say. Like, once my dad was on the phone, they told her what to say. So they told her to tell him, drop X amount of dollars. This is the amount that we want. We're here with your family. She was the one talking to my dad on the phone, but he could hear them in the background because they were right there. He could clearly hear the guy telling my mom what to say to him.
What? So he knew right away, this is real.
Yeah. Yeah. So I asked my mom, I asked her, I said, did they make you say anything like, if you don't do this, this is, what we're going to do to your family? Kind of like the equivalent of the ransom note, situation. And she said, no, they just had me call. They told me exactly what to say to him. So she did. My dad said, okay. She got off the phone. She asked, or they asked my mom, are there any, I don't know, they asked her if there was guns in the basement or something. She said no. So basically, like, all they wanted, their whole entire point of this, the whole goal, their whole, the end game was money.
Okay.
They knew, it was specifically targeted because they knew where he worked, which location. They knew he would be at work. They knew where he lived.
Correct.
Now at this, back in the day, this is when we had phone books.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and he used to wear, if you go in a grocery store, any grocery store, if it's a manager, they're wearing, a name tag. It says their full name, and it'll say, manager. So I don't know if that's how they did it or not, but so then I don't even know how long they were in the house until they left. But when they left, they didn't take the pizza delivery car.
So the guy's still in the trunk.
Guy's still in the trunk. My mom's car was in the garage. They took her car. And they left.
So do you know if the drop off of the money was supposed to happen like very soon? And, is it an amount of cash that he would have had in the store? Because everything was cash back then, or check.
It was, they wanted it
now.
Right. Now I'm like, I'm pretty sure they specified like a time, because the store where my dad worked, it's like on the other side. It's like on the north side of town, on the other side of town.
And didn't the store, wouldn't it close like at 10 or something? It's not a 24-hour store, correct?
No, but back then the stores closed, I believe, at either 11 or midnight.
Okay, so it was late. Okay.
Yeah. So they set up the place, because the place where they wanted it dropped off was near the grocery store. So it's not like it was near, the house. It was near the grocery store. So when my dad got done, when he got off the phone with these guys, he immediately called the police, and he told them what they said. And, they told him the location. Him and another guy who worked at the store, worked there for a long time, because I even worked with them when I worked there. They went. They literally like got in the car and, and I assume it's because if he would have told them like, okay, I'll meet you there with the money, but then he just called the cops and didn't go. If they had someone at the store watching, they would know that he didn't leave the store. So they went, and when they went, the cops were hiding, and I don't know, I think it was some parking lot like near the store. The cops went, and they were hiding out like out of sight, so that when the guys showed up, then they arrested him.
They did. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So back at the house, after they left, and we had a dog at the time, a poodle. And at this point, we only would have had him, he was probably about a year old. I think we got him when I was 3. When they came in, like, the dog just took off. Like,
really? Yeah.
Like the dog just vanished. So when they left, my mom said, grab your clothes, let's go. And we went next door to the neighbors, and then she said, she told them what happened, and then called the cops from the neighbor's house. So the thing the thing that I was upset about when we got to the neighbors, I remember I was sobbing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I was freaked out by the whole situation, I didn't know where my dog was, and I thought, well, what if they come back and hurt the dog? Like, where is he? I was just sobbing. I just wanted my dog. So then after my dad came home and, the cops were in the house for, however long they were in the house, the dog ran under one of the beds and he had been under one of the beds. So I was pretty happy when my dog,
Yeah. Of course.
when we came back and then I discovered that my dog was okay. Oh, Ashley, exactly. Like probably from the time I was born. I don't know.
Sure.
Like,
Well, it's a big deal. So, I mean, so the cops are at your house. Your dad comes home. He's home at this point. And at what point did they realize or start searching the car and find the pizza delivery guy in the trunk?
I don't know, because when my mom was telling me about that, she said, I think the cops knew it when they arrived because they could hear, like, the guy was pounding on the trunk, like, help. So,
Yeah.
At that point, they managed to get the delivery driver out of the vehicle, out of the trunk. So it was completely targeted.
Yep. Recon.
And this is why I ended up doing the video on my channel, because I started thinking about it. The ransom notes. Nope. Nobody, Alpha, nobody knew these guys. And there was actually like 4 of them in total, like 4 altogether. And they did go to jail for quite a long time.
Really? That's
Yeah.
good. Because I'd be afraid
But
after that.
but they weren't charged with kidnapping for us. It was for the delivery driver.
Oh.
They charged kidnapping for that because they had put him in the trunk, and drove him from A to B. So I'm assuming that's why,
Mhm.
And they had him in the trunk. What happened to us, I guess, I don't know if you'd call it, to me, it's kind of like being held hostage.
Yeah,
I
it's
guess
very serious.
more than, I mean, what is the definition of kidnapping? Is it, does somebody have to physically, I'm assuming somebody has to physically take you from one location to another. So that didn't happen with us.
So let me read you the definition. Kidnapping is the
Please do.
unlawful act of taking, confining, or carrying away a person against their will by means of force, fraud, or coercion. The act typically involves false imprisonment and is often done to extort ransom, commit another felony, or hold the victim as a hostage. So you absolutely were
So
kidnapped.
yeah, because it says confinement, I'm
Yep.
guessing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was definitely targeted. They had it all planned out between the, ordering the pizza.
Well, they reconned. They knew the house, which,
Oh yeah.
back then you probably were listed in the white pages.
Oh yeah.
They knew who your father was, the hours he was working. They had probably people watching near the store if there were 4 of them involved. Where did the pizza end up? Was it at your house? Because they never paid for the pizza.
No, they took they had the pizzas. Yeah,
they
that's
took them
why
in the
they did
car.
that.
Yeah.
So the reason they did that was to come, in their mind, I guess they were thinking, yeah, exactly. Like, what are we gonna do when we get to the front door, front door kind of
Yeah.
thing. That's why they came and said, like, pizza delivery. My mom said, well, I didn't order pizza,
Correct.
but by then it was too late.
Yeah. You're gonna open the door.
Yeah. So it seems like I guess, I don't know. And I don't even know, because they didn't live in those apartments where they had that pizza delivered.
Yeah, so how'd they get there? I was wondering where the car
I
was.
I don't even know, because back then there was no Uber. Well, we had
No,
taxis. We did have taxi.
but the other 2 guys might have dropped them off too.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
and then driven back to the store to watch.
So they did get, because they also stole my mom's car, so there was
Yep.
that. They did get charged for that. So like my mom had to go to court and testify, and during that time she took a lot of Valium from what my sister said, and she even said it. That part I don't remember because I was 4. Like I said,
can't
there's
blame her.
certain key moments that I remember. The door, when they knocked, and the bathroom, wondering where my dog was and if he was okay. And growing up after that, like when I got to the point of being a teenager, my mom and dad they were in they had bowling leagues and all this, so every week they went bowling, and or they'd go out with their friends, whatever. So when it got to the point where I was, they would go somewhere, by this time my sister had moved out.
Oh
She
boy.
moved out when she was 18 or 19. So it was just me. I never felt I was fine during the day. At nighttime,
Whole different story.
I was never comfortable at night. Never.
No.
Never. And I always worried about, like, well, what are they gonna, when they get out of prison, are they gonna come back? Like,
Exactly.
throughout the years, just different, different thoughts and stuff. Now, after that, my dad did take the listing out of the phone book.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just the phone number, like it would have the address
Sure.
too, like all of it. So I'm assuming, I'll have to ask my mom that again. That they could have just found him by knowing his name.
Yep.
They could have just found the phone number and the address. Well, they didn't call, but the address from the phone book. So because after that, he just, back then I think you could put it in as like everything unlisted.
Yeah,
like
but
it had your name.
It'd be like to the next phone book though. You're,
Yeah.
in any old phone book, it's in there. Yeah.
Yep.
So how did your dad get through all of this? He must have been shaken.
I don't know. Like, he was, I guess the way that he handled this, and the last time my sister and I were talking about this, because she ended up working for the same grocery store chain for 44 years, and at multiple locations. She talked to different, when you work there, the manager of your store, they're your boss. So, the manager, the assistant manager. And she said it was years and years later, she was talking to one of the store managers, not of her store, but it was one of the other stores. And I guess he had said to her, we use that, what happened to you and that whole situation, we use it when we're training store managers now.
Oh, wow.
Because he said the way that your dad handled it, like he handled it so well, that's something we put in our training manual when we are training, store managers now, in case it were to ever happen to anybody else. But they like the way that he handled it, the situation. My dad he would stay pretty cool.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure he was freaked out knowing that these people were here with us. but he was the type, he could stay calm under pressure. So
Was he prepared with the cash to do the drop?
Yeah, they had because they normally they keep, amounts like that in the office, or well, now they don't even technically. Well, they do have an office, but they don't. They do have, back in the day, there would be the office that was strictly like for the managers. So, and I don't know how that office was at that store, because I don't think I ever went in there, even as an adult. But there would, they kept like excess cash there, and they didn't keep it like down by the registers or in the cash registers or that kind of thing. Customer service even doesn't have that amount, of cash.
Do you know how much they asked for? Do you remember?
I want to say like 15 or 20,000. Like it wasn't, but this was a long time ago.
No, that's a lot of money. Yeah.
So,
in the 80s, that's a lot of money,
Well, no, this was in the 70s.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'm old, girl.
Well, for some reason, I thought it was, but no, the 70s that's a lot of money, and definitely. Yeah. And I mean, did grocery stores even have that much in the office? They must have done some homework to know whether he even had that kind of cash.
They, like I said, they would keep the excess like in a safe.
Yeah.
In the office, which was basically like the manager's office.
Yeah.
It was a lot of the times. See, this store, I don't know how this particular store was set up because I never went in there. The store that I worked at for 8 years, the way that it was set up is the office was actually like when you'd walk in the store, there was a door, and you open up the door and there's just these stairs that went up to a small room, which was the office, and it had glass, that nobody could see in.
Yeah.
So that the manager at that location
could overlook everything.
And it was situated, lined up with the registers. So you could literally see, all of the registers. Because I'd been, you end up, sometimes you got to talk to the manager for whatever reason. You go to the office, So I'd been in that particular office plenty of times. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So you guys get to sit up here all day, just people watching. And
yeah.
But yeah, so they did have a certain amount, of money that they would have. Basically it would be the money from the day, from that day.
And then they'd go deposit the money.
Yeah. So it'd basically be for the deposit.
Yeah. I remember there'd be like a money bag. You'd go drive it to the bank and put it in the night deposit box.
Yeah. Because whoever's working in not the manager's office, but technically it's customer service, the head cashier, whoever handles that. Every so often, every couple of hours or shift change, everybody had their own drawer. So when you started work, you started with
your drawer,
a fresh drawer. Yeah.
Yep.
So that if anything came up missing, it was on your watch. Like you were responsible, because I was a cashier for quite a while when I worked there. That was your drawer. Like if stuff came up missing, it's on you.
It has to be exact. And you had to count change by hand.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's how so anytime that they would switch the drawers and do, then they would count everything, and the excess would go into the safe, for a deposit. So, but they knew, like I said, they knew who he was. They knew, where we live. They planned it all out. The pizza ordering pizza and.
But what I kind of want to point out here is it was absolutely targeted,
Oh, yeah.
reconned, strategic. They had a plan. It was very quick. This is what we want.
Yep.
We want it now. Meet us here. They hung up the phone. They got in your mom's car. They were
Yep.
out of there. There was no fooling around.
Nope.
In and out.
It was,
So when you think about that, and then this Nancy Guthrie, the notes that came a few days later, and then have the money drop of Bitcoin by Friday for this amount or Monday for this amount, what does that make you feel in your gut? And of course, we're speculating here.
I do a lot of speculating. You can ask Ashley.
We all do. Yeah.
I'll be texting her like, what if this? What about that? Did you hear what this video said? I'm constantly, it's always,
sure.
Especially after I watch The Interview Room.
Yeah.
My mind is just going. I don't think they were actual ransom notes. You don't wait 2 days to send a ransom note, and you wouldn't send it to I am good at speculating, Ashley. You wouldn't send it to, a news station. You wouldn't send it to TMZ,
this was a business transaction. This was a business transaction, right?
Yeah. They would have just like, at this point I just roll my eyes. They would have left something at Nancy's house.
Yep. For the people to find.
Yeah.
Like John Benet Ramsey had a note left at the house.
Yeah, correct.
And that's what a lot of people have said, is there would be a note left at the house.
And so, I think that the first 2 ransom notes are real in the fact of the people writing them were involved, but I don't think they're real ransom notes as far as
it doesn't line up, does it?
In your typical, in the typical way of, somebody that wants money like that, and they have somebody for ransom, they're not going to wait that long. They're not going to wait that long. Also, you mean to tell me that you wanted to kidnap her for ransom, and yet you don't want to take care of her in the meantime? You don't take her medication?
So let's think about this. These guys at the apartment, they call for pizza delivery. They get the pizza delivery. They take the pizza delivery's car. They put the delivery driver in the trunk. They drive immediately to your house with the pizza. One guy's at the door with the pizza. The other guy is out of eyesight, but right there. Your mom opens loud, threatening bang. She comes to the door. You guys are behind her. She opens the interior door. Pizza delivery. I didn't order a pizza. Opens the front door and realizes the other guy's there. Tries to slam the door. They make entry. So from that moment until the time that they leave, you guys are all nude, terrified. You don't know where your dog is. Your mom is needing her Valium, which I don't blame her. I support that completely. How long was it that they were in the house?
I would say I would be shocked if it was over 30 minutes.
So this is bada boom, bada bing.
Oh, yeah.
And
they wasted no time.
And I think that most kidnappings, like you said, they leave a note. They want it quick. They want it quiet.
Yep.
They return the person. They keep them alive. And the money is done, and it's done. They go on their merry way. And it might be longer than 30 minutes. The way that, 24 hours. Don't you think that in this day and age, it would be about a 24 to 48 hour transaction for, and you may not know, but I would think that's about as long as I want to hold a person.
Well, yeah. And it's especially an 84-year-old person, I mean, it just, none of it even makes sense. Like those ransom notes. So it says, hello, Savannah. Why is it only talking? They're only acknowledging Savannah.
Correct.
Is it because she has the money? And if you really want that directed at Savannah, why didn't you send it to the place that she used to work?
Or directly to her.
Yeah. Well,
or even to Annie or to Martha.
I mean,
or leave
I don't
the
think
note.
there's any way they could send it directly to her. I think that'd be pretty hard.
No, and you're right. But
Savannah's got security and, she's
True.
on lockdown, surrounded by that.
Let's think about that. I mean, who are they going to send it to? It would make sense to, if they were going to do something, send it to the TV station where she worked. That's her connection. They
Or
didn't leave a note.
Today Show.
Yes.
If you really wanted to get to her, because they said that they use the the online form, like if you want to comment or ask a question or or a tip line, I think is what they said. And something that after Brianna's, when she described what was in the one ransom note, the part, and I just read this today, the part where it says don't play games.
Mm-hmm.
My dog's gonna bark.
That's okay.
Hold on.
Yep, take your time. I'm looking. So what I'm doing while you're doing that is I'm looking on the Today Show, and it doesn't look like they have a contact us form on the Today Show. But Savannah, I mean, let me see if her Instagram, if someone could have messaged her on Instagram. I'm looking. Savannah Guthrie. Yeah, someone could have messaged her directly on Instagram.
Oh, that's true.
Yep. I could send her. I'm sure she has people who read it, but somebody could have contacted her.
Yeah. So why didn't they? It's just another distraction. It's another distraction to make everybody look over there.
Yeah, I agree with that. And, so thinking about, the guys knew exactly what to tell your mom to say on the phone. And if something had gone wrong and somebody had been injured, do you think that any one of them was going to apologize and feel bad? Were they concerned at all about taking care of you or your welfare while they were in the house?
I'd say yes and no.
Okay. How do you feel like, can you describe that?
It never fails that when I'm doing a video or live, there has to be noise from animals. I don't think, well, I don't know. I can't say that. Like they didn't hurt any of us.
They could have violated you in many ways. Yeah.
If, okay, let's just hypothetically say my dad said, "Oh, hell no, I'm not giving you the money," I don't know what they would have. They were scary, but I don't know if they were violent scary. Do you know what I mean? Like, because they were younger guys. I think they were all like in their 20s or whatever, but they definitely scared us. Yes. But they could have hit us while they were here. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they could have
beat you.
They could have beat my mom even or whatever, but they didn't do that.
Yep.
They were scary though, like breaking down the bathroom door to get us out of there. It's definitely scary.
No, that's terrifying.
But none of them had masks on. Not one of them. There's another
costume.
There's another thing to take note of.
Yeah.
None of them. Not one of them had a mask.
did you find out if they had previous criminal records at all?
They might, that I don't know. Like
Yeah,
I'd have to ask
sure.
my mom. Um, she would know, you know. Um, and like I said, a lot of the info, you know, I've had to, you know, ask my sister or my mom, um, because I was so young, and I just remember those certain, you know, the certain other, I wouldn't, I don't want to say, what are the defining moment of my life, I should say. Something that affected my life.
Yeah.
Which would be actually that knock on, for whatever reason, the knock on the door. And I think it's because when I think back to that night, like now, and I, you know, because I followed, you know, behind my mom, and so did my sister. And I stood there and I saw the whole thing, the guy at the door with the pizza. And, you know, then when they came through the door. So in my mind, I guess I just always associated the sound of the knocking at the door with the forcefulness, you know, and guys holding, you know, holding the guns, you know, uh, at my mom,
It's a total
at
trigger.
us. So something stuck in there, you
Yeah.
know, in my brain or whatever. The being in the bathroom, that wasn't, you know, I remember it, but it's nothing like that initial when they first came in.
That imprinted.
Yeah, it definitely imprinted, stuck with me for, you know, it's still with me.
I understand.
Um, so, but everything was quick. Like I said, I don't think they were here longer than 30 minutes. I really don't. Because everything was fast. They came
Yeah.
in, you know, my sister took us, you know, ran us in the bathroom, but then they got us out of the bathroom. Then they made my mom call right away. So it was all like very quick. They did not, you know, they didn't waste any time. So in Nancy's case,
They didn't steal anything from the house. Did they rifle through anything at the house?
no, they asked my mom if my dad had any guns or whatever.
That's right.
She said no, which I don't think that was truthful.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but she's
I don't
smart.
think
She's
that,
thinking
yeah.
on her feet, right?
Because I know for a fact he would have he would have had you know, he had hunting rifles and, you know, etc. And later in life they actually owned an archery store, you know. He was a big sportsman. So, but at the time I know he at least had, you know, rifles and things, you know, that he went hunting with, ducks and whatever. So in Nancy's case, I don't think it was when Dr. Gary Mercado, who I love. Did you hear that, Ashley?
Who
Did you hear what
doesn't?
I
We're
said,
all
Ashley,
fans.
about Dr. Mercado? That's an inside joke we have.
Yeah.
When he recently said, like, his how he's kind of pivoted from his original, you know, how he thought about what happened. Meaning like the ransom notes, wanting money for perhaps a debt to be paid off, but
Yeah.
not necessarily for, not necessarily if it was an elimination from the get-go. Like if that
Yeah.
was the intent from day one, from the time that they took her, which I believe it was.
I agree.
Now I believe it was.
Yeah. It took
That,
us a minute to get there, but you're right. I think
yeah.
it was elimination.
So if family was involved, the family, that those ransom notes demanding Bitcoin was like an extra, it was a way to get money quickly, as opposed to, you know, let's say if it is the family, if they are involved, you have to wait. You'd have to wait for the court to say
she's dead.
yes. And that's the other thing. that second ransom note saying, "We're sorry. We didn't know she was that frail." You know,
84, yeah, nothing's
she's
going to happen.
she perished. That is another way so that when the time comes, it's like proof saying that
We didn't
she's
kill her.
deceased.
Yeah.
It would be proof to take to court to show the judge to say, "See, my mother's no longer alive."
True. Oh, you're right. It is. I see what you're saying.
This kidnapper.
And that's the thing. It could take 5, 6, 7 years to get someone declared dead. And and I think that somebody said that they've already managed to do that with an obit somewhere. And maybe you're right. And so that moves the inheritance along much, much quicker.
Well, that obit stuff, they were talking about, are you talking about Find a Grave, the info that
I think I'm not sure. I just hear things, and somebody had said that they'd already had her declared dead or something. So
Find a Grave, anybody can put the info in there. It's basically for genealogy purposes, and I've done genealogy for a long time, so I know this. It's for genealogy purposes. Like if you're trying to find out where your fourth great grandfather is buried and you don't know, you can go to the Find a Grave website, type in their name, and that it will come up if they're listed there. So you could, if you're in genealogy, people into this, they do this all the time. If you go to your local cemetery, where your own family is buried or whatever, you can take pictures of just random and headstones with the info, and then you can go to Find a Grave and upload it.
Interesting.
And so it's kind of like, when you're doing genealogy,
it's user
you work
generated.
together. Yeah. Well, you can work together. I've had people in Canada helping me because my dad's side of the family was a lot of Canada. So
interesting.
I'm not in Canada. So if you find somebody that's in that, they're looking for the same names or they're connected somehow, they'll say, "Oh, I'm going to the courthouse, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there," and they'll scan things for you and send you things. So it's Find a Grave is like that. Somebody did say that they contacted them though, and they said they took it off.
Okay, so that might be where that's
at least at the Find a Grave. Yeah. But somebody had put in there that she, died on February 1st or whatever date that they had. But yeah, I think those notes serve like two purposes: to try and get some quick money. And, if it was a case of somebody in the family.
Yep. We're establishing, we have it in writing.
Don't want to cast aspersions.
Of course. Not us. We would never do that. Right, Lisa?
Don't want to cast aspersions.
Not me. Yeah.
That would be something that they would have to say, "Look, this is what the kidnappers, this is what they said. They said she's perished and buried in nature." So I think it serves a couple purposes because it just, nothing makes sense. Nothing. And I've said this for a long time.
And the thing is there are professionals that have dealt in negotiations, in kidnapping negotiations and ransoms, and nothing has tracked at all. And everyone's like, people were confounded because exactly what happened with you. It was bada boom, bada bing, business, 30 minutes in, out, boom. And these guys drug it on for a week and she was already dead. I mean, that was.
Yeah, because because their main goal is the money.
Yeah, they just want the money.
They want the money so bad that they don't. Okay, like in my case, they didn't know us. We didn't know them. It was random, but it was targeted random, meaning like it was nobody in our circle. It was nobody that we knew. It wasn't friends. It wasn't a friend of a friend. but it was targeted.
But
So
the pattern is accurate for the people that did this to you. That lines up. These were outsiders, but the age group, going to the home back then, I mean, this made sense. Going after an 84-year-old woman alone in her home is not this. Taking her and having no way of communicating or negotiating.
and I don't even know. Well, I know how common like abductions and kidnappings are for older adults over 70, because I did that for one of my videos, and I was using data from Dr. Gary. How many kidnappings are there nowadays that there are actual ransom notes? You know what I mean? Like, because I think the majority of actual kidnappings are kids or teenagers.
Correct.
Do you know what I mean? And a lot of them, they don't even. I don't know. Has there been any that they wanted money?
Well, they get hired by these people, like the wrench attacks that happened in Scottsdale. They were two teenagers from California, didn't know each other, were reached out to by somebody internationally on WhatsApp or Snapchat and said, "Hey, I'm going to pay you $3,000 each. Meet here, go here." They beat the homeowners. They wanted 60 million Bitcoin or something like that. The son was upstairs, called 911, and the cops came during this attack. But these two teenagers, they didn't even know each other. So it does happen. And there's some gruesome, I pulled some stats myself off of Chat GPT, where one of the gorier ones is it was a Chinese business executive who was wrench attacked for his Bitcoin password, and they found him dead, executed, and buried vertically in the ground. I mean, bizarre.
Well, that kind of if it's something like that, it almost makes me think of like it's like the equivalent of cartel, which a lot of people wanted to say. Even Nancy was, the cartel came in, and no, it was not the cartel.
Europe has seen numbers rising of these wrench attacks, and so there was a time when we thought maybe this was a wrench attack, but from what Dr. Gary is saying, it's going to be the stats are so small on someone 84 getting kidnapped for ransom. It's got to be someone in her circle. It has to be.
Well, and he said this was just this was in the interview room, the last episode, which was last night, right?
Yeah,
last night was Wednesday. Confused on my days. Doctor, because a lot of times, I'm sleepy, I fall asleep, whatever, I rewatch it, or I'll rewatch it. Yes. I'll rewatch it if I want to hear something in particular again. Yep. But when Dr. Gary was talking about, there's two different personalities so there's the two different people, like the porch guy, then the chef, like there's two different people.
Objectives.
When he was talking about like the ransom notes, like the first one is, it makes you think of the porch guy. It's more like, don't play games, Savannah, and don't, it's aggressive. And the second one is, we're sorry, and she's buried in nature. Yeah. He said it's almost where he says it's like the two personalities clashing with each other.
It's like two different,
because they're different
people.
I think it is. I think it's two different people.
Agreed.
I think the second one might even be, I think maybe even the second one was done out of some fear.
Well, people have said that it could have been like distancing themselves, like, oh no, he's dead. We didn't do it. And like you said, it could be to establish death, but it's almost like the first one had a male energy and the second one had a female energy.
Yeah. Because some people think it's, it could be a translation from another language. I mean, it might be. But I have my own suspicions. So when I hear that, I'm like, no, that's not it.
Yeah.
It's hard for me because I've been on the same train for quite a while of who I think was involved. Who did. Even the porch guy. I've been the same from, I think, from the beginning. Ashley would know.
Well,
I
and
think I have.
you know,
I've changed my mind a couple times. Like, well, maybe it's, I'd see a picture of like, well, was it Derek Colella? Did he go to like Tucson from California? Well, I don't know, And then you think about that, like, no, that's, and then I'd go back and forth. But I've pretty much been stuck on one person for the whole time. LD JWS, who
yeah,
LD. I think it's LD.
Mr. Daly.
I'm gonna do, I think, my next live, I'm gonna talk about like his interview. Since February, yes, he actually knows. I've just been like, no, there's just too many weird things about him because he lives close. He's even close to, he would be close to that Estevan Park that Chris McDonough was talking about. He literally just bought that Range Rover like 8 days after she went missing.
That's a lot of money.
What did he drive before? Where's that vehicle?
That could have the DNA, the goo in it, right?
He changed his appearance, shaved his head, took all of his facial hair off, and did that interview. And I'm just like, no, there was just something. I do too, Chickles. He did that interview and it was like 103 degrees in Tucson that day. And he's wearing
suit. Yeah.
He's wearing like flannel and then a vest and I don't know. And then when I discovered that I'm pretty sure he's also left-handed, which was recently when I found that picture on his Facebook page, I was like, oh.
With the watch, right?
Yes.
The watch on his right hand. And your mom
yes. When he was, yes. And he looks very young in that picture. And I went, oh, is that his watch? It's on his right arm. That means he's left-handed. And I just went, okay, it's another like check mark for me when it comes to him because he's local. He's got a criminal record, selling drugs and weapons. And I think he even doesn't even have like burglaries or.
He's got a price. You can pay him to do something.
Oh yeah. See, he fits like when Dr. Gary first did his kind of, here's who I think porch guy, like here's his personality or how he would act or whatever. Everything that he said, my mind always went to Luke.
So what we need to do is we need to have someone who can connect LD with DC in California for that text, because I mean, I have thought, and I think that the group thinks as well, that tax for the Bitcoin wasn't a ransom for Nancy. It was for payment of services rendered. DC could have hired LD. There could be a connection through the band scene because it keeps Tommaso 2 steps away from LD if LD is porch guy.
I don't necessarily think Derek would have hired the porch guy, though. I think it would have been the chef hiring everybody.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
So what do you think the text from DC is about?
Well, I agree. He's not asking, he's not demanding money like a regular ransom. He's saying, I wish they would unseal his search warrant. That would be nice.
Don't you think it's weird that it is sealed? I mean, that just seems kind of odd to me.
The other thing is, too, I periodically look him up in the court system because I had looked before. Because he's got that. He's been going to court for when him and Kayla were stopped, were arrested. When they were together, even though he doesn't know her.
Yeah.
So I had gone in there and I'd been looking at that, and I did that. I forgot to tell. I was going to tell you, Ashley. I went in there. I can't find it now. Like, I can't find the updated info on his court dates. And I thought, where did it go? It was here before. Why did it vanish? What happened to it? Because I would go in there and check, because she took a plea deal. And see, anytime someone says, oh, with Porch Guy, an ex-girlfriend would talk, somebody like that, someone that's ticked off at the guy or whatever, they would talk, they know things. And I always think about Kayla, because she was arrested. She would know. I think she would know. Like, I think if he was Porch Guy, I think there's a good possibility that she might know that.
Well, and we don't know what they know. And, my show last night was actually going to be on whether they need to really restart this entire investigation and get fresh eyes, because I don't know that either the feds or Pima County has, I don't know that they haven't all screwed this whole thing up, because it just seems like there's no way they couldn't have had something. It just seems really odd to me that they don't have somebody.
I think they are like watching people. Because FBI is not going to say, "Oh, we're watching this person." They don't say anything. So I think they are probably watching some people just to see, like the post-incident behavior type of thing. Which is why I've always been suspicious of Luke. It's like, why did you shave all your hair off?
Well, and I thought about that too, but I'm pretty sure his attorney who was there told him to do that. I don't think he did that all on his own, but is there a reason why she had him do that? If he's innocent, why would he need to?
He didn't do that interview right away. Like, Carlos did his thing right away. He was telling, news reporters, this is what they did, and it's crazy. And, you could tell he was mad.
Yeah.
And it was immediate. Luke didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And he seemed very nervous.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. He would have had to have come out, like he had to come out and say something because
Carlos had.
Yeah.
Maybe his mom told him. Possible. I don't know. So it just, something's just not right. I can't get him out of my mind.
Yeah.
For Porch Guy. And when Monks did the one video where he like was drawing on the Porch Guy's face, and he was talking about like, well, his ears are pointy and his nose has a bump and then goes straight down. I went and looked at, and then he was, and his cheekbones are high or higher, and I went and looked at the picture of Luke when he did the interview or whatever, and I went, check.
Yeah.
And pointy ears, bump on the nose, comes straight down here at the bottom, the cheekbones. Like, it just, anytime there's something where I'm questioning, like, well, maybe it's not him, and I double check something, or I look, someone comes out like Monks with the video about that, and I go and look at a picture, and I'm like,
Nope, that's
It
him.
still fits for me.
Well, I've always just been looking at the eyes and the eyebrows. I've not looked anywhere else. And so I think I need to go and do that. I need to rewatch Monks, and then I need to look at those pictures because I'm not going to say it isn't. It's
It's even
everything's on the table.
his like double chin.
Interesting.
And this is, and I couldn't figure it out because this, people will show the still image where he's like right after he gets up to the door. It's like the side view of his face where he's kind of leaning to the left a little. And every
Yep.
time his head's down a little, and every time I see that, it's not a video, it's just like the image. Every time I see that, I think of Luke. First, I don't know why. I don't know if it's like the upper body, like his shoulders. It's just like everything seems to fit for me. Although when Monks does his videos on like the gate of the porch guy and
Yeah.
the one he just did, I'm like, things that make you go,
I know.
That's
I know.
but it doesn't, but the person he's talking about doesn't fit for me, like, the rest doesn't fit. I don't know. I can't make it fit. As far as his stature.
I'm feeling a little bit more hopeful because honestly, I felt like this last, week or so was going to be the last we heard about Nancy for a while, and that it was going to go very, very quiet, like for weeks. And we got the Ashley Flowers and Brianna, reading the notes last night. And so we've got a little bit more kind of buzz around it. So I'm hopeful that maybe more stuff comes out. There's no reason for them to keep this stuff quiet, and in my opinion, anymore. I think we need more information if they don't have anyone.
I wonder if Brianna kind of got
in trouble. Mm-hmm.
Well, she doesn't work for them anymore.
No.
But I wonder what the sheriff thought.
Wonder
what the sheriff thought.
Oh my God, he's a mess. I tell you what,
I agree. He is a mess. He's a mess for sure.
Well, first of all, I really want to thank you for being vulnerable, and I really validate, your entire experience, and I validate your PTSD. I completely understand that.
Thank you.
That feeling that you get and the triggers. I get it. It's bad.
It's pretty much the only trigger that I have left from it. There's a little bit of the, kind of being leery at nighttime kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'd even asked my mom, I was like, how come we didn't move? Like after that,
Yeah.
Like, how did you, as an adult, I would have had a really hard time every night after that, and she said, we couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
So she's like, we had to stay in the house. But so that's pretty much the only, kind of leftover thing. And I've tried to get rid of it over the years and didn't work. So I just kind of succumbed.
Well, and
to the fact
you have a really good sense of humor, and it sounds to me like you've kept your sense of humor, and all you can do is laugh. Hold on.
True.
I'm pulling up my screen because really quick, because we're nearing the end here. So YouTube has given me 5 free gift memberships, and I didn't know I had them, but I'm going to give them away right now. So let's see who gets them. Drum roll. These are for free. So let's see who gets them. All right, Ashley got some. Bird moms. Oh, we have a lot of people here that just got a free membership of Crime Crunchies, and I think I've got 5 more to give later this month. These are completely free. Compliments of YouTube. Yes, you got one.
Yay, Ashley got one.
You got one. I'm so happy about that. So excellent. I just saw that today. I got an email and I'm like, well, I'm giving away, I don't want I don't ask for members. I want you guys to save your money, but they're free. So I want to thank everybody. And on the first, I'm doing a member giveaway. So yeah, congrats to everybody. So Lisa, thank you again. Really, everyone, I've posted her link in the chat a couple times. Please go to her channel, Crime After Dark HQ, and subscribe.
Yes.
We're so excited.
And thank you for having me. And of
Oh my
course,
God.
you know, I'm always in your chat when you're on.
I know.
Unless I got something else going on. But
I appreciate
I like to
your
come
time.
and hang out, and because you're like me and you talk to Chat GPT and stuff.
Yes. Yes. Well, I really, really enjoy your conversation, and I love having you in chat. I support all the other creators. So thank you again so much. And I just, again, I appreciate your insight, because I think your story reminds us that there's something stinky in the Nancy Guthrie case.
Yeah, it's something's not right.
Something's not right.
Is DLR doesn't look right.
Doesn't look
as my
right.
teacher would say.
And I think we've got
a lot of that DLR.
We've got TIR in 15 minutes. So I know
yes,
everyone's
that's right.
over there. I will give you guys a shout out. So thanks again, everybody. Catch me tomorrow night. I'm going to be doing my show on the 12 scientists data missing and the connection with Cameron Guthrie. We'll talk about any updates. And then this weekend, I'll be covering some other news stories. I'm going to be out of town, but I'll be doing lives as I can. So again, thanks so much, Lisa. I will catch you all on the flip side.
Thanks, Courtney, for having me.
You got it, girl. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.